Tenet 5. The moment we call now is infinitely divisible. Remember the frog. Now. This moment should perplex you to no end. Measure it. Go ahead. What do you think? Take a second and call that now. Then divide it in half to get, you guessed it, a half of a second. We will now call this half second now. Now let's take that moment and divide it. We are left with a quarter of a second. We can do this forever and there will still be a moment for us to measure. Let us now take that moment that is now and look at the moments immediately before and after this moment. Those moments are just as small as our moment. One is in the past and does not exist anymore. The other is in the future and does not exist yet. Let's call our moment a second again. The seconds before and after our second do not exist right now. The second in the past was now, just a second ago, and in a second, it will be the second after our current second, which of course becomes 1 second ago. Only the moment actually exists. If you say that a moment is a second, then you can divide it and call it 2 moments. If you divide both of those 2 new moments, you end up with 4 moments. Then dividing further, we get 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, 512, 1024, 2048, 4096 moments within a second. And only one of those 4096 moments that exist within a second is now. Then, that tiny moment can be divided to discover a new now. How do you grab a flying arrow? Seize the moment, literally. Your hand cannot be in front of the arrow. That would be a moment too soon. Your hand cannot grab the swirling trail of air created by the arrow's passing, for that would be a moment too late. Only during that one infinitely small moment, which in itself is infinitely divisible, can you seize the body of the arrow. You have a concept of now that I am asking you to divide. Do away with the waste, and now your moment is smaller. This gives you more moments to perceive. When you thought you were perceiving 1, now you have 2 to observe, and only one of them is actually now and exists. The other is either in the past or in the future, however you wish to imagine it, and does not exist. In this way of thinking, you can see things that are moving fast a lot better. Unless you're into film, you may not know what a reel-to-reel is. It contains many pictures that move rapidly to give you the appearance and perception of continuous motion. Moments that we call now are perceived in very similar fashion by our awareness. That is, each moment, however infinitely small you wish to think of them, exists and then does not. We link these moments together using our perception of them to create a reality that seems to exist continuously, and all of it seems very real. Despite this perception of continuity, only one moment actually exists. Now. When you are aware of these moments, you can move faster physically and mentally to a goal. Physically, you can catch things that fall all the time. Gravity is pretty slow. You wouldn't say so if you were falling to Earth, or maybe you would. You can also juggle a lot better. It takes an infinite number of moments for a ball to drop 1 foot. You should be able to give a short speech while a ball falls 1 foot, 3.048 decimeters for those in other lands. Mentally, you can accelerate your perception of everything in order to think faster. This means that you can accelerate your perception of others, of yourself, your dreams, and so on. Since we perceive the length of a moment, we are free to call it whatever we want. Remember, though, when you call a second a moment, by the time half of that second is gone, it no longer exists. Only the remaining part of that second will exist. Reality is now, and now, and now, and now, but not then. Now is fleeting. You cannot decide to do something tomorrow, for when you decide, it will not be tomorrow, as tomorrow never comes. You will decide now. You should be well aware that you cannot decide yesterday. All of this is to help you understand the tenet. If you do not, cannot, or will not, then call me, write me, ask someone, read something, die trying, suffer by lying to yourself, or die never knowing that now is the only moment that exists.